Welcome to Models That Eat. I'm MaKayla, and today we're eating donuts from dough. So I'm just going to grab this Boston cream donut and take a delicious bite. Flavorful, beautiful, iconic, delicious, nutritious.
Models That Eat, welcome back to the podcast. It's your girl Pojo, and I have a very exciting guest today. I feel like everyone always says that when they come on a show, but when I tell you guys, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming for us to meet, for one, but also just to energetically align finally and do this. So I have MaKayla, aka Starry Eyed Mystic, in the house.
Hello, I'm so excited for this. This is so exciting.
Too. This is so big. I mean, we've known each other through the internet for how long?
I think like a year now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of crazy to think about.
It was like the warm weather this time last year. And the way we met, I have to say, I have to first thank you because you reached out to me and that's how we aligned. And pretty much MaKayla reached out to me saying, hey, I would love to give you a reading. For those that don't know what we're talking about, don't worry, we're going to dive in a little bit more. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I would love to. And we just hit it off the bat on the phone. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I became a client, of course, because like I had to come back. But thank you so much for coming on Models That Eat.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Oh my God.
Right at the beginning, right at the start.
Dude, season 1, baby. We're getting it in.
Yes.
I'm so pumped. Yes. I feel like your guidance today is going to be so helpful for so many people. And I know not only models could really use your insight, but everybody that watches Models That Eat and knows our content in general.
Yes.
I want to start by saying you brought me a really lovely gift, and it's 2 crystals. Can you explain what you got for me and why?
So I got you selenite because you are a very sensitive, loving, kind person based on our conversations, and I thought that you would really benefit from having a piece of that. Yeah, it is a beautiful piece. I love that.
It's
I was
gorgeous.
Like staring at it all night, just like,
it's got good energy, and it's like hypnotizing, really.
Yeah.
I have like a selenite wand, but you can't really carry the wand around when it's that big.
Right,
so this is perfect for me.
Yeah, you just sneak it in your pocket and it absorbs any sort of wonky vibes.
Oh, I love that. We hate a wonky vibe out here.
Yeah,
no more wonky vibes.
No wonky vibes.
Good vibes only, non-wonky vibes only.
Right.
And then this is rose quartz, right?
Yeah, it's a little rose quartz heart, and to show a little love. It's a stone of love and unconditional love and compassion. So it's really a great universal stone, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. My sister, I remember I got her and all her friends rose quartz for like the new year, I guess. I was like, let's bring it in with love, girlies. But I got to carry it around myself. I really find myself forgetting my crystals at home. And, I think a lot of people obviously don't really understand crystals fully, but we can also get into that stuff later too. There's a lot. We're going action-packed day today.
Yes.
So when I asked you what you wanted to eat today, you immediately were like, anything sweet, I'm super down for. And you're in New York. This is your first, is this your first solo trip to New York?
Yeah, first solo trip to New York. I haven't been in years. So I'm really excited to be here and explore the city. And, now that I'm here, I'm like, maybe I have to think of relocating here eventually.
I mean, I'm telling you, the city will welcome you with open arms. I think New York needs your energy, for one, but also the amount of food that you will enjoy here is crazy, especially in the dessert section. So my brain immediately went to, I was like, all right, I'm either going to bring MaKayla insomnia cookies, New Yorkers know the vibes, or dough, because dough is like the ultimate donut spot. So I brought you a lineup today. You went and grabbed for the Boston cream, which I found very fitting.
Yeah, very fitting for my Bostonian personality.
Exactly.
But it is so good. Like, seriously, so good. I can't believe it. I've never had a donut this good.
Do you feel like there's a lot of Boston creams floating around in Mass or no?
Have you ever heard of Kane's Donuts?
Yeah, I have. Okay, so that's like the ultimate.
The best. That's our Boston hotspot for donuts. It's so good.
Oh,
so
awesome.
good.
I have to go there.
Yeah, you do.
And we also got you, so this is the lineup, y'all, just so you know. This is what I'm sending MaKayla off with because we had to make sure she was, she's got it all going. Cinnamon sugar, that's the vegan one. So that's like over here. We've got a plain glaze, the Boston cream, a mocha almond crunch. Tell me that doesn't sound like
so good.
Insane.
So good.
blueberry lemon with oat crumble, which is a beautiful color, and dulce de leche with toasted almonds. And then I went to the donut spot, couldn't help myself, saw a vegan hibiscus, had to throw it in there.
Yeah, that one is very tempting.
Ugh.
The colors.
So pretty.
That is like the color of my hair, basically.
I know.
feel like.
I by the way, obsessed with your hair.
Thank
like
you.
so
Thank you.
amazing. I saw this Instagram photo that you posted that was like your fiery look. It was like a red top, red hair, and I was like, this is like the biggest vibe of all time.
Yeah, I had to do it for my Aries sun.
Absolutely.
I was like, I just need some fire in my
I
life.
love it. That's so perfect. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess we should just dive on in. Oh, by the way, guys, milk preferences. I feel like it's obvious. We're drinking a little Oatly over here. Because we were talking about milk, and I was like, what's your milk vibe? And you were like, oh, absolutely.
Oat milk, 100%.
As soon as you said that, I knew. We were like, yeah, I thought we were aligned online. We're definitely aligned in person because I trust anybody that loves oat milk. So, yeah, this is the OG. So, Oatly, shout out. Enough about donuts and milk. I'm so excited to get into everything. You have had such an interesting journey, and it's crazy how we've aligned on different things. But I would love to start with where you're from, how you grew up, like what was around you, and then how did you get introduced to modeling?
Yeah. So it's kind of a crazy story. So basically, I was born in Salem, Massachusetts, the infamous witch city.
That's amazing. First of all, like the most ultimate energy. Like what? So cool.
I love it. I love Salem. I'm there all the time. Technically, though, I grew up in the next city over, Lynn. It's still a pretty big city and whatnot. But yeah, basically I got into modeling because everyone was just kind of like pushing me in that direction. Like, oh, you should model, you should model, you should model. So I did when I was really young. My mom brought me to modeling, and I did it temporarily. And then when I hit my teens, I was like, okay, let's try this out again and let's see if I like it. And so I did it for a couple years in Boston, you know, kind of small. And I enjoyed it while I did it. It was definitely a life experience, and I learned a lot.
Especially at a young age. When did you get introduced to it? Like what age? Because you said in your teens you revisited it.
Yeah. So originally I think I was like 5 or something.
Wow. Oh, so you were a child. See, that is like before me. And honestly, though, it's like it's interesting. I find like there's categories, right? Like obviously, like child modeling or modeling as a child is very, very different than like when you're a teen or when you reintroduced to it. Did you feel like it was drastically different?
Yeah, because like when I was really young, when I got into it, I was just kind of like, my mom was trying it out with me and I didn't really vibe with it. And so she never wanted to force me into it. So she was like, okay, let's just like not do this. Yeah. And so I didn't. But yeah, it was a totally different experience once I was older and like just really, I was really like young. I think like 15, 16 when I went back in, and I was like so naive. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to New York overnight and I'm just going to be the #1 top model. So I definitely had high expectations going into it and everything. And
but also they kind of sell you that. Like, I don't think you were wrong to feel that way. There's this level, and I'm sure you could agree now, there's this level online, and also at that age Instagram was taking off, right? So like there was this like misconception around how accessible it is because of social media, and it feels like anyone can do it, and I don't think that's wrong. I think everyone should be able to do it and pursue it if they'd like, but understanding what comes with that is a whole other fish to fry. So yeah,
definitely was a humbling experience.
Oh my God, I mean, I could say the same in my teens here. You know, New York is ruthless, but it's almost like a level of naivete helps you get through it at the same time, and you can enjoy it for what it is.
For sure.
So what kind of made you realize you're like, I don't think this is my path?
I think it was just that like one day I just really realized that I wasn't really feeling it, and I'm a very passionate person, so if I'm not 100% pouring my passion into something, I just can't even get myself motivated. I think that what I loved about it was that I had a lot of creative self-expression, but when I felt like it wasn't working for me anymore, when I was like realizing how much of the expression is not in my hands, it's just like what I'm getting hired for and what the team wants and what the makeup artist wants and all that. So it was just like, I don't know, very humbling and eye-opening.
Yeah, no, that's the other side of it too. Like, it's great to be around creative people. It'll inspire you, but no, that totally makes sense. Like, the level of detachment we almost have from our bodies in that is very, well, one for you, very off-brand, which we'll dive into soon. So were there like red flags for you, or was it more just like you didn't feel fulfilled and you're like, this isn't it?
Yeah, I think that for me, it was that I was very naive at that age. So I still like, I don't know, I'm very like spiritual type person. So it was just like realizing that not everyone has those purest, highest creative intentions with their work and kind of getting take advantage a little bit. So I was like, okay, that's a little bit of a red flag.
Totally.
For me.
Totally. Well, so for those that don't know, MaKayla is a established astrologer and tarot reader online, and you are the wonderful Starry Eyed Mystic. I remember when you slid in my DM too, I was like, wait, your vibe right now is everything. Like, you've really created a name for yourself, you know, and you've created this like body of work online that people really are attached to. I just feel like your interactions and your engagement, like, it just shows how passionate people are. How did you know though you wanted to pursue like that realm of work? Because it is very niche and, you know.
Yeah. So basically, I've always had a passion for it. I grew up in a very intuitive family, very spiritual upbringing, and so it's always just like naturally been a part of me. But I was very reserved with it and very hidden and almost embarrassed of it. Especially with modeling and stuff. For some reason, I felt very embarrassed by it. So, kind of like about 2 years ago, I did like a lot of introspection and inner work, and it made me realize that like my passion is definitely in helping people and uplifting people. And so I kind of put those feelings aside a little bit of my insecurity, and I was like, kind of like in the name of a bigger purpose, you know, like, okay, people are going to really benefit from this if I put myself out there more. So that's what really pushed me to do it.
Wow. That's not an easy thing, too, to come to the conclusion of. Like, also when it's something that's so much greater and you're working with people's energy, you know, like it's a real energy. What I mean by that is like it's an energetic exchange, but it's so cool and unique to grow up in like a house where that's accepted or even like motivated to like pursue that intuition and like nurture it. You know, I feel like we're in such a culture, and especially in modeling, but just ties into like society. It's not really, you know, seen as this thing that's a good vulnerability, but for you it's literally like a job, so it's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. My cousin, he was a reader for 20 plus years too.
Wow.
Yeah, so he took me under his wing, you know, and he like mentored me with everything, and like he gave me kind of like that preparation for those energetic boundaries and like preparing me for that kind of foundation.
Did you find it was a hard adjustment at first, like on the business side of it? Because I can imagine like you go from, you know, reading yourself or reading like what you're being called to say, and then you're reading other people, and then you're like, whoa, like I just introduced so many people into my like realm. Like how did you handle that? Was it hard?
It was definitely a little difficult at first. I think what was more difficult though was when it started gaining attention on social media, because like I went on social media with the idea that I was gonna get like 1,000 followers and just like have my small little business and be fine. And then when I got all this attention on social media, I was like, what is going on? So that was like a big boundary, because then it's like obviously more different people's walks of life coming to me. So that's when I was like, okay, that was adjustment period.
I can imagine. I'd be terrified if it was like, wait, you all need me? Like, what do I do with this? So, but I mean, I guess that's an interesting juxtaposition, because it's like, for like your type of work, it's obviously based off how much time you have and how much energy you have for it. So to scale it the way that social media has taught us to scale things is like so unsustainable. Yeah. Emotionally too, I can imagine.
Yeah. Plus, like, that's the thing is like, what's really scary at times about the spiritual community with like social media and stuff, it's beautiful because everyone has a platform and can put themselves out there, but what's scary is like then you have to be your content creator, you have to be your, you know, manager, you have to do readings, you have to do so many little side pieces, and like that can be very draining when it's like a spiritual practice, you know.
Absolutely like anything involving, you know, also when you're doing like, you're helping others. Yeah, you're literally helping others all day. Like, do you have to like do certain things self-care wise to like redeem that? Like, I feel like
that little selenite there, that little selenite saves my life.
It's beautiful. I mean, guys, if I had like any favorite crystal, it's probably selenite, just because it's so pretty, but you won't even realize what it's doing for you when you're holding it, right? You're just like hypnotized. You're like, wow.
One time my friend was over, and they came over and they were so like in such a frantic state, and I was like, sit down, relax, and I handed them a piece of selenite, and they just like, whew, their energy, you could just see them go, whew. So I'm not huge on crystals, like I appreciate them, but I'm not very knowledgeable, I won't lie, but selenite is like, I think everyone needs that one.
Do you have any other favorites? I mean, I feel like rose quartz is amazing,
Yeah,
too.
I love rose quartz, too. I like fluorite, too, for clear thinking.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
very clarity of mind and
I can use some fluorite in my life. I find myself, especially at night, it's like 9 to 11 p.m. is where I need that type of stuff.
Right.
Like, hello, ground me. No, that's, kudos to you, though, for putting yourself out there like that. I know it's like a really vulnerable position to be in, especially when there's so much taboo and like conversation around the spiritual community that would kind of like, what's the word? It would definitely disappoint you in a way, because it's sad to see that people aren't open to practices that could very much so help them, but also connect them with like their greater purpose. And that's a big thing. Do you feel like the weight of it being like a bigger purpose thing made you wait? Like, I mean, I know that's like,
I think I just like felt the urge one day. Like, it was literally a week before my birthday last year, and literally I just like out of nowhere was like, nope, this has to happen now. So I put all my energy into it at that point, specifically with social media, and then
wow, that's incredible. By the way, like, I haven't been to Salem. I would love to go.
Yeah, you need to come. I mean, I would be your tour guide.
Oh, dude, we out. Like, let's go. I'm so down. I feel like Model City in Salem.
Oh,
let's go.
Oh, we have spots in Salem.
Yeah?
I could take you to this little shop, Jaho. They have zodiac sign teas.
Stop it.
Yeah, shout out to Jaho real quick.
Oh, my God, that's fantastic.
Really, you would love it.
I would love that. Okay, we definitely have to go do that. But wait, so growing up there, do you feel like also just like, was it more integrated into the like community as well, like outside of your house? Because that's big. Like, that's so cool.
With Salem, definitely. Definitely. That's why I go there so often, because it's like, you know, a close drive from my city.
Absolutely.
But Lynn, it's like, it's very diverse there, so it's kind of accepted, but definitely like more. That's why I was so private with it, I think, because it's not very much in the community as much. But Salem, forget it. You walk down the street, everybody's wearing crystal necklaces, everybody's in the loop, like everybody knows. So yeah,
I love that. It's so amazing. Oh my God, dude, I can't wait. Okay, we're absolutely planning that trip. That has to happen.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to touch on is you're very active and out there in your inclusivity with your platform, especially with the LGBTQ plus community. I know you yourself identify as queer, and I just think that's really incredible that you've, one, made it very clear, like, this is a safe space for everyone, like, this is healing for everyone. What made you feel so inclined to clarify that? Do you feel like it's ever been a place where maybe people don't feel so included?
Yeah, I think that what's very interesting is that there's like a lot of inclusivity for like gay men and things like that, but I feel like when it comes to like the trans community or when it comes to like women who love women and that, like, I don't think that there's quite as much resources or material out there. So that's part of the reason for me. I was like, I really want to make this a safe space. It's a place for everybody, but I wanted to make sure specifically that those people knew, like, this is a place where you have some representation or you have a safe spot for you to, like, get healing and insight. Because I think there's, like, an unspoken bond between queer people. Like, they can just, like, understand that experience, whereas maybe they wouldn't get that same resonance with someone who hasn't been put in those circumstances.
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's huge. And also the idea of it being an intrinsic journey that once you know you have that community there, there's a level of like, okay, I can breathe. There's like a lack of fear around judgment or bigotry or anything. Like, that's really important. And have you ever had, I don't want to get too into like the personal side of like your clients for their sake, but did you ever have a client where you realized like, wow, they definitely needed this space and I'm just grateful that I made it that way?
Yeah, because like I've had clients that come to me and they're like telling me about, you know, their partner or whatever, and they're really shy to like say, you know, reveal that it's the same sex and stuff. And I'm like, now like that I've made that safe space, they like come to me and they're so comfortable, like, yeah, awesome. Girls coming to me, oh yeah, my girlfriend and stuff like that. Normally I feel like they've told me they've had to go to other readers and stuff and kind of like either lie and say it's a guy or like just be very neutral and stuff like that because they felt so uncomfortable and wasn't sure the response they would get. That's
terrible, you know. And it's such a vulnerable position to be in where like even if someone's reading your chart or pulling cards, like they're delivering messages to you that are higher and that are also like they're being called to say. And if there's even like a level of like taint there on like whatever it is, it's like it just it ruins it. It ruins it.
Yeah, I had a client of mine come to me and she was telling me that she went to a reader and she was like, oh yeah, you're going to marry this man or whatever, and it was kind of like a scammy type of situation after other red flags I heard, but kind of told her like, oh yeah, you're meant to marry a man, and she was like, no, I'm actually lesbian, like that's not gonna happen, I'm gonna marry a woman. And she was like, no, you're going to marry a man, and this is what he looks like and everything, like trying to force her that nope, you're going to marry a man. And I was like, oh, that is so toxic. That is so sad.
Toxic and such a projection. Like, what a terrible thing to do to somebody.
Because it's like, even though she has that level of self-awareness, it's like still in the back of your mind, and it's still scary to think that someone who's struggling to come to terms with that goes goes to somebody and hears that and might second guess their own intuition on that. So it's like,
their
I
own
was like,
experience.
okay, I heard that. I was like, okay, I'm going to make this even more out there, pushed out there.
That's amazing. Kudos. Because, yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine dealing with something like that. Like, so also, I feel like we'll probably have some people watching that aren't as aware of the work you do. So, you know, I obviously know that you do tarot reading and you read charts, and that's like more astrology based. Is there like a difference you can like explain, or like how you differentiate your practices?
Yeah. So with readings, basically with astrology, that's more of like you need your birth information, right? So the date, place, time, all the details. So, you know, the number one thing is like if that person doesn't have that information for whatever reason, then I'm like, okay, we can just do tarot because we can't really pull up the full chart. So that is like an automatic like first thing I consider. But also like tarot is very helpful for all sorts of different questions and situations, I feel. Like past, present, future, specific questions. And astrology is really good for like when it comes to natal chart reading, really good for getting like an overall map, blueprint of like you know, your personality, your life purpose, you know, time activation stuff, prediction wise. Like they're both like very, very great tools.
And they're in depth. Like the things, guys, I'm going to tell you a really quick story about a reading we had, because this blew my mind. It also blew my boyfriend's mind. Long story short, MaKayla had predicted an incident happening prior, and I remember it being so wildly specific, like the way you referred to the person it would be, and you're like, this is gonna happen, or this person is going through this, and I was like, oh, okay, like guess we'll see. And then like 3 months later, we were both like, I cannot believe this verbatim folded out the way you said. Some would say that like, and this is where the skeptics like to come in, they're like, well, anything could happen if you're thinking about it, and I'm like, but isn't that the point of all of this too? Like the energy side, like, you know, you felt so called to tell me that, and it was just like, I don't think you would say anything that you're like, I don't know if this is the case. And so it's just a level of trust too with your work. Like you are so connected, and I just feel like people can learn so much from you. I highly recommend anyone get a reading with her. I mean, just bless yourself. It's amazing. I'm wondering too, with your modeling experience, you know, like I know around that time you said you were really ashamed of being so in touch, like spiritually and stuff. Do you feel like you had any messages or understanding of the industry that made you leave, but beyond that, because of your ability to tap in?
I think it was a lot of like inauthenticity. It was like a lot of that, and it made me very upset to see, and energetically drained me a lot, because I was just like talking with people who I don't know, I could see they were very good people, but they were just like not listening to me and just talking through me, and I didn't like that feeling, because it felt like I was trying to respect them and they weren't respecting me, and I didn't like that. And I felt like because of that, there's like a lot of miscommunications and misunderstandings that happens between people in the community with that at times, and I'm like, totally, I don't want to see that happen.
No, and your body is your brand in this way that it is in modeling. Like you feel like you're being projected this like perception of yourself, and it's like, this isn't me, like this isn't how I see myself, like it's a whole other side of it.
And I have so much respect for it though, like I have so much respect, and I think that it is some people's like purpose, and like I think it's a beautiful thing, but it just like wasn't for me. But I think that it was part of my purpose at that time, because it like has led me to things like this and interacting with people like you and like things like that. So I think it was definitely meant to be.
Absolutely. I love that mentality around it, you know, like I'm very grateful I brought you to me in any way, shape, or form. And no, I think a lot of people in this space could really use your work in a way, like, I mean, as a tool, like you're saying, and it would be so helpful, because there is such a lack of clarity around this work and what it really means. And, you know, like, what are we doing with our lives? Like, I remember when I was younger being like, what am I doing? Like, the moment it clicked for me, I was like, there's something so much bigger here. And obviously I feel called to do Models That Eat in a way where I was like, that's my access and that's how I help people too. But I think it's just nice to see somebody who also experienced a level of it and understands like, all right, like, yeah, this isn't for everyone. And you're not weak for not doing it. You're just protecting yourself, and you know yourself well enough to know that.
And it can lead to other opportunities, you know, like exactly like what you're doing here. Like such important work.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very grateful that it led you here today.
Yes.
My other question regarding the spiritual path is, I know there's probably some also intuitive intuitive people out there that are afraid to pursue it the way you were. Do you have any advice for them?
Number one thing I would say is to trust themselves, because I think that's the number one thing. I doubted myself so long, and I can't trust that insight. I can't trust that feeling because it doesn't make sense logically, maybe. But like once I just started to like write those thoughts down and like see what happened, I built the trust, I feel, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, personally, I had like a really rough, like 3 months where I felt like I wasn't in touch with my intuition anymore. And the fear-based thinking, it was really like an anxiety-induced thing. And kind of getting back and slowing down and practicing like more spiritual practices, more readings in the future, and those types of things like really can bring you back and remind you who you are a little bit, right? Like it's so
and
important.
mental health is so important too. Like I think that stigma kind of intersects with spirituality so clearly. It's like you have to be willing to get the help if you need the help, you know, and like reach out for the help and have community and therapists, and it takes a team. It takes a team.
It does, and it's an important team to have. And if you have access to it, then go for it. And so crucial.
I recommend.
Yes, me too. Also, could I steal a bite of one of your donuts?
Yes, please
okay.
do. Please do.
Cool. I'm like, this glaze is kind of calling my name. I wish I had a knife, but I'm just gonna grab.
They're so good.
Oh, how's that Boston cream hidden still? Oh my God, it's like pillowy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hadn't touched it. I just saw it.
You need to eat that. You are going to fall in love.
Oh my God, this is gorgeous.
I'm gonna like take a 3-hour train back to New York just to get these donuts again.
Any excuse, right? It's
exactly.
Like, oh my God, let me give it a little ASMR myself, you guys. You could probably barely hear it because it's such a pillow. It's literally a pillow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
They're so perfect.
You know, I'm a big donut person, I think, dessert-wise. Oh, you know what I am? It's donuts and root beer floats. I live off root beer floats. Like, I've been doing these, like, Olipop root beer floats where I do Olipop's, like, probiotic soda. And then I do coconut milk ice cream.
I saw that, actually, your reel on it.
Yeah, it's so good.
That looks so good.
What are your go-to desserts? Or is this, like, in your realm, these guys here?
Absolutely in my realm, absolutely. Yeah, I think donuts are number one. Cupcakes, ice cream. I love root beer floats. I love Shirley Temples. I know that's technically a drink. But
I love Shirley Temples
Shirley Temples. I feel like a little kid when I go out to eat because I'm like, hi, can I get a Shirley Temple with 3 cherries, please?
Oh my God, that's perfect. Can you try a cherry? Can you try cherry stem with your tongue?
Sometimes. I actually can sometimes, but it has to be a long stem.
Absolutely.
I can't do it. Those little.
Yeah, sometimes they send you a small one. You're like, this is a scam. I'm returning the cherry. Like,
right.
Give me a new one.
Give me another cherry stem, please.
What? That's amazing. I remember when I was younger, my cousin would try to teach me, and I was just like incapable. And I'm like, it's just never gonna happen for me. But it's okay. Like I'm accepting that.
Yeah. It took a lot of practice.
Oh sure. Yeah. So was that your go-to drink order when you were younger?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Me too.
Or the what do they call them? Lime Rickies.
What's
something
that?
like that. Oh, I feel like I might be saying it wrong, but it's like lime with it's like basically I think a Shirley Temple with lime in it, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds bomb.
It's so good.
So it's like Spritey. Is it Spritey?
Yeah,
well, I guess you know what it is? There's no Sprite in a Shirley Temple, right? It's sparkling water and syrup.
Oh yeah, like grenadine, right? Grenadine, right?
Well, maybe it is Sprite though, because sometimes it's so sweet. You're like, hold up, it tastes like Sprite.
Yeah,
There's
something like that.
Going on in there.
It was really, I just love those. I grew up on those.
Oh, dude.
My mom would take me to this place called Pulio's. It's closed now, but we would go there and we get the large ones.
Oh my God. Was it like a bar? Because we had like a bar and a pizzeria that we would religiously order Shirley Temples at.
I love that. It was
so
like
good.
it was like a really kind of hidden place. I don't know. It was cute though. It was like very home style meal type of thing.
That.
Yeah, it was
that
cute.
Sounds great.
Cute little spot.
Well, Shirley Temple to wash it down. Period.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
That's everything.
Yeah.
I'm down in some oat milk, you guys.
So good.
So creamy. Like
I could never sit down and drink like a glass of dairy milk, but oat milk I could just chug this whole
Agreed. The vegan in me is screaming whenever I see whole milk. I'm like, what is happening?
I was vegan for like 4 years, and I don't think they had oat milk except like
it wasn't a thing like then.
Yeah. Unless I just like didn't hear about it, but I never had it.
It really wasn't mainstream for I think up until like last year or 2 years. No, actually, no. I think it was like 2016, 2017 when I started seeing oat milk like legit come out.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with her.
I love her.
We stan. We do stan.
She's beautiful.
I wish they would make, you know what I wish they would make? Little travel, like chocolate milks.
Yeah.
That'd be so sick.
I know. Why don't they do that?
Oatly, hit us up. We'll do some consulting. I mean, we're your marketing team right here.
Exactly.
Wow. Speaking of all this food shebang, I would love to get into the food and body image.
Yes.
So I would love to hear first, what was your relationship with food like growing up? Do you have like a recollection of that?
Yeah, I think that for me it was very much like I have a specific meal I can even think of when you asked that. My mom would make shake and bake pork chops.
Oh my
it was
God.
like pork chops with the shake and bake on it. Yeah. Shout out to my mom for that one.
Shout out, Mom.
Shout out to my mom. With applesauce. It was just like, that was
the
it.
OGs.
Yeah, I had like very much, my mom cooked all the meals and it was just like a nice homey experience. And
that's so sweet.
Going to nice little family restaurants and stuff like that.
Oh, great. So that sounds very positive, like uplifting and pro food in a way.
Pro food for sure.
Do you feel like at any point that changed, or did you have any experiences? Like, I'm wondering, even with the modeling stuff, did you ever feel an effect with your body image or personal perception of your body?
I felt like it was very pushed onto me to have that because all of my friends that were modeling were so counting calories and so insecure with like the food intake given, like obviously they had every reason to be given the environment, but like I personally don't think I struggled with it that much. I think that when I was vegan, I did struggle at times with like making sure I was eating healthy vegan because I was like a junk food vegan. You know what I mean? I didn't make sure.
Been there.
I didn't like make sure I was eating the proper amount of like proteins and stuff like that. And that's where I was like, okay, that was a little difficult, and that overlapped with my modeling experience. So maybe they were linked in the end. I don't know.
It's interesting because, well, it just shows too that veganism, and I'm really happy to talk about it here because obviously me being vegan, I think some people don't know, which is kind of shows that I'm kind of like doing the thing right. All right. I don't want anyone to ever feel like it's a judgmental space because it's such a personal journey. And for you to be like, yeah, I was for 4 years, like some people would hear that and be like, how could you not after? Because the way the vegan lifestyle is marketed online. And in truth, like, you are so intuitive, literally the most intuitive. And for you to read your body and be like, this is what I want and this makes sense for me now, or it doesn't now, like, that's crucial. I wish people felt a little more open to that because, like, that's actually the best relationship with food of all because you can really just, like, be case to case and know exactly what you need and stuff.
Right, exactly. I think it's definitely really, really, it was really beneficial for me at one point. Yeah, it was very beneficial. I felt so healthy and happy, and it was really good. And then I do think in the future I would again, definitely, when I'm in that like place that I feel like my body would be able to handle that.
Totally. And that's the biggest part. It's like, what can your body handle and what makes sense for you? Like, I mean, dude, we're out here literally eating like a ton of donuts, but like, you know, there's a place and time for each thing. If we wanted a donut though every single day, like, we should have a donut every single day if that's intuitively what we want. Exactly. But do you feel like also with food, like food rules and stuff, did you feel like you struggled with food rules? I mean, the veganism stuff, I think obviously is case to case. Like, everybody has a different relationship with that diet or lifestyle because it depends on who you are and how you perceive it. But did you ever have like issues with food rules, or do you feel like you intuitively were just like, I'm going to follow what I need? Yeah,
I think that like I definitely am a rule breaker.
Yeah.
Person. So I think I just broke the rules.
Is that the Aries too?
Yeah, wait, I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait, speaking of placements, what kind of what are your placements, or what are your big?
I obnoxiously have my Aries glyph tattooed right here.
Love it. I love it.
Aries, Sun, Leo, Moon, Cancer, Rising, and I'm a Taurus, Venus, so I absolutely love that we're eating these beautiful donuts.
Amazing.
Here right now.
I love that. Oh, so is that like the indulgent sign for Venus?
Yes.
And Venus rules love too, right? And like
love.
What
food.
Else does it rule?
Yeah, Venus is a foodie for sure.
She's a foodie.
Yeah,
your indulgence, right?
Your show is very Venetian.
Really?
Yeah.
That is the biggest compliment of all time.
Very
so
Venetian.
Happy.
Food, models, beauty, all of that great stuff.
Oh
very
my gosh.
Venetian.
That's a huge compliment. I really connect. I feel like the planet itself I really connect with. And whenever people talk about signs in relationship to Venus and like their personality, I always feel like I'm that soft, indulgent, but like not too much so, because I'm sure you see like there's it applies to food, it applies to life. There is a level of like what's the word? Too indulgent, but on a material level.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That applies to food and modeling and everything, but like I feel like that's where I kind of like draw the line emotionally as well, because it's like, all right, at one point like it's gonna become a crutch. And food was, I think, for a while, and shopping for me too, that was like a big thing. So yeah,
I think it's interesting because there's all like higher quote lower expressions of each, and finding the balance is ideal.
Totally. With the mental health side, I'm sure there's so much pressure to feel like on the ball all the time and on top of everything, and being this like, you know, called person by so many people. I can imagine that gets really stressful. Like, how do you balance that self-care beyond that? Or do you struggle with anxiety and those things?
I think that's the biggest thing, is like everybody, I think to some extent, does deal with those things. And like I think that that's what I really try to be honest and open about, is like I definitely have my struggles with anxiety. Especially years ago, like I had the worst relationship with like my mental health and stuff, and that's why I'm here where I'm at. And I think like removing that stigma is so important, because how I kind of unwind from it is like, and because like I can't just say that to other people and not practice what I preach. It's like, if I'm getting overwhelmed by it, I take a break and I fill my cup back up. So it's like I'll just book myself out a few days or whatever, and I'm going for a walk in the woods. And
I love that.
You know, gonna go hermit mode for a little bit or
as you should. Do you find that like when you're on that downtime, do you prefer being like very much so alone, like just you, or do you have like certain people that you like to have around, like energetically?
I definitely need my alone time, but I also have like my really close friends that I really trust and love, and I know that their energy is going to be very uplifting for me. So I have my select few, you know, people that I'm like, okay, this is my support team.
That's so important. That's wonderful. I feel like personally, I'm kind of like half and half like you. It's like need my people, but at the same time, you got to be alone sometimes to know what you need when you're with people, right?
Right. And I think that's so important with mental health too, is like we're in a very individualistic society, and I think we're as a species human, we're very communal, you know, we need community. So just reminding people, I remind people like that when they're going through hard times. I'm like, you don't have to do it all on your own, you know, you can reach out and have a community to help you.
Totally. And I feel like a lot of people that struggle with like social anxiety, or maybe don't grow up in big communities like the way that it seems like you grew up in a really nurturing one, and I personally did as well. Like it's a privilege, right?
Exactly.
And I think it's so cool that you grew up in one that was so, you know, it really embodied, like Salem, it like embodies your work in so many ways. Like you kind of were just like a product of this like amazing space that was just like accepting and intuitive and spiritual and aware, and historically aware too. I mean, there's so much history there that kind of shows the stigma around the work and shows the stigma around mental health, right? Because that was actually such a like all-encompassing embodiment of what happened in Salem for so many people that were just doing what we're doing now with no issue.
Right.
It's crazy.
Exactly. It is crazy. I think that's part of why it's like definitely I talk to people about approaching it with like deep reverence, because you don't know, like it's very fun, and it should be very fun and playful, but you know you're dealing with very serious stuff at times. So like, having that grounded approach, easing into it.
Absolutely. Food for me has always been a form of self-care. I know it's not the case for everyone at all times, but I'm wondering if like cooking was ever something that you kind of put your energy into, and was that ever like a form of self-care, or food in general? Like ordering is the same equivalent thing. But.
Definitely a takeout person. I have struggled so much with cooking and whatnot, but I actually have set in my mind like May 1st I move into a new apartment, and I'm like, okay, when I move in there, I'm going to start working out more and cooking for myself.
I love that though. That's great. Food should be that safe space to experiment, and there shouldn't be so much pressure around like being a good chef or anything, because we're not chefs. Like I'm a home cook. Like people say like, oh, foodie chef. I'm like, no, don't get it twisted. I have friends that are legit chefs, and that is a completely different realm.
Right.
But to be able to like nurture your body in that way is big. And what's your takeout order? I'm really curious. Like, what do you go for?
Oh, wow. Okay, so there's this place near me called New Style Asia, and I have them saved in my phone with the heart eye emojis and all the loving emojis in the world, because I love them so much. I get pho from them, or I get like avocado maki.
What's that?
I love avocado. It's just like sushi, but you know I don't get the fish. I just get it with the avocado.
Oh,
it's so
so just
good.
like on like a sashimi thing, kind of.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh my
just
God,
like
that
little
sounds so
avocado
good.
rolls. They're so good. That's my takeout on my days, like, that I really am just like, I don't want to make anything.
I need to get into pho. Like, pho is one of those things that's always there, and then I get intimidated because I'm like, am I going to, like, I don't know, am I going to get the right things? Because you can add things to pho, too, right?
Yeah.
It's like veggie.
Yeah. Like, I just had it with my friend the other night. We got, like, vegan chicken ginger one.
Oh, my God, that sounds incredible.
So good. It was so good.
Oh, my God.
You would love it, I think.
I got to get into that.
Yeah.
The broths, too, like noodles and broths.
It's so nurturing and warm and comforting.
Absolutely. I'm wondering if you have any tips. This is my last funny question. I'm going to read this one off the paper because it is kind of hysterical. Any tips for spiritual hotties that want to get in their self-confidence and mental clarity bag?
I saw that. I love that. Okay. So let's see. Self-confidence and mental clarity. I think like I don't know. I just think like have the audacity to be yourself. Just like you deserve to be yourself. And I think that a tip I would say, I'm trying to think practically. I mean, I would say pyrite for a crystal kind of really helps with confidence. I like that a lot. And I think just like knowing that nobody out here has it figured out either. I think like that's a huge thing. My confidence comes from knowing like no one else has it figured out either. We're all just vibing and doing our thing.
And when she says no one, I mean no one. Like, I feel like we both have probably met some very interesting characters. Right. People that really look like, from the outside,
absolutely,
everything's just like, it's a false perception, right? Like, that's just kind of like the game, and projecting on the internet, too. Like, it's so much of that. But, yeah, no, literally no one has it figured out.
Nobody. And that's what really is, like, eye-opening. Is, like, you think, you know, you're going to meet these people that have everything figured out. Nope. We're all in the same boat. We're all just vibing.
It's true. This is also kind of a deep question. It just came to mind. All-encompassing issues we all kind of face are like this idea of like, why are we here? And what am I supposed to be doing? And people our age, like young people that are even remotely intuitive with their own feelings or emotions, like really struggle with the like society structure. Like we go to college, we go get a job and whatever. And that makes sense for people. And I think it's great that people have that structure and the ability to go to school. But do you feel like your ability to be in touch gives you more clarity on that, or gives you clarity on those bigger, all-encompassing questions that are like, why am I here? And it's like what's your response to that? Like, how do you interpret that, I guess? Because I'm curious, because I have no idea how to interpret that shit. Sometimes I hear it, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I still have no idea.
Yeah, I think that I have no idea either fully. I think it's a grand mystery a little bit, but I think that when it comes to purpose, I think that following, for me personally, it's always just been following my gut one step at a time. I think that society has this map of like, by this age, you're supposed to do this, and by this age, you're supposed to do that. And I think that like a lot of people's mental health issues come from that and comparing themselves to those standards or what other people are doing. And and I think when you throw that away, it's always like part of, you know, it can be difficult, but I'm not saying it's easy. But when you kind of just like, you know what? I'm going to go my own way and see what happens and take it step by step. I just say take the first step instead of trying to project what the next 50 steps are, you know?
Definitely.
And that's your purpose, right here and now.
Oh, my God, I love that. And just being like, let's see what happens. Like, we'll find out. We'll find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. This is now a Dragon Ball Z ad. No, that's really great advice. I feel like that's going to help a lot of people. And thank you for opening up on so many levels with all this stuff. Your energy too, I have to say. I know people aren't in the studio. I'm sure you're picking up on this on camera, but you are just calming, the way you speak and the way you approach things. Aww. No, truly, like, it's almost like I ask a question and then I'm like, oh, why would I ask? Like, it's literally, it's all there. It's all taken care of. And the way you present, I know like it's energy to present this way, but I really appreciate like you being yourself and being honest about one, the way you interpret other people's situations when you're doing readings and stuff. Like I'm sure you're impacting way more people than you even know because of the ripple effect of that. Like those people move through the world differently. I moved through the world differently after readings with you. But
I'm gonna cry.
Oh no, but like I'm really grateful for your energy and what you do and the fact that we aligned. I'm still like in shock that you reached out when you did and it all worked out the way it did. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, and it's true because I think it's like there's so many ideas of like what we're supposed to be doing and it's just like when you throw that away, it's like we're all just little human beings on a floating rock.
Big rock.
On a big floating rock.
Thick. She's a thick rock and we have no idea what's going on.
And she's got pretty
little rocks too.
Right, that we can carry around.
Yes. nice little hearts. Cheers with the selenite.
Oh, yes.
Oh, this energy. That's power. This is power. This
Yeah,
and the donuts.
I charged those too.
You did?
I did.
I was trying to figure out. I'm like, there's someone else going on in this one. Ooh.
Yeah, I got flowers in the garden.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I just charged that in there.
Oh, thank you so much. It's very
Yeah.
spring, too.
Good,
I
yeah.
love that. It's like a rebirth.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I also was going to ask you, this is so random. This is like me asking her questions that, by the way, guys, if you have questions for MaKayla, follow her on Instagram, book with her if you want a one-on-one. She also always does Ask Me Anythings on her story, and she's so helpful. I watch you do this, and I'm like, you are literally just like spewing amazing knowledge. She also has Patreon, so if you're into her content, like you really want more, which you probably need it in your life, go check out her Patreon. No, but like, dude, you're so insightful, and this has just been so amazing. I feel like I just got like an energetic reboot right now.
I love that.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
This has been just,
I
like, so much
appreciate
fun.
being here. I'm so glad we made this work. It was just like so spur of the moment, but it worked out perfect.
It worked out great.
Perfect.
And we'll absolutely have to have you on in the future. But
Yeah.
I would love for you to shout out, like, what are your socials? Where can people find you? Patreon, all that stuff.
Yeah, so on my Instagram is the Starry Eyed Mystic. Twitter, Starry Eyed Mystic. Patreon is the Starry Eyed Mystic.
Yes.
So basically, if you look up those keywords
You're
on
gonna
socials,
find her.
you'll find me somewhere.
Awesome. Oh my God. MaKayla, thank you so much. This has been so fun. These donuts are calling your name.
Yes, they are.
This oat milk, everything.
So good.
We're going to eat a little bit more, you guys, but thank you so much for watching. You know, it's your girl Pojo. You can find me at Pojo on Instagram and Models That Eats everywhere with periods in between for our handle. And we're here on YouTube and streaming platforms. So thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you guys go eat something delicious today. We'll see you very, very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was so good.